The conversation surrounding the Denver Nuggets has taken a strange turn in recent months. A team that not long ago looked like one of the most stable championship contenders in the NBA suddenly finds itself at the center of a wave of doubt. Analysts question their defensive intensity. Fans point to their uneven performances in late-game situations. Critics watch the offense sputter in moments when it once flowed effortlessly. For a franchise built around rhythm, chemistry, and one of the smartest offensive systems in basketball, the recent stretch has felt unusually chaotic. The numbers behind the panic are easy to understand. Since the turn of the year, Denver has hovered around the middle of the league in net rating, a statistic that measures the point differential between offense and defense over 100 possessions. Instead of dominating opponents the way a true title contender typically does, the Nuggets have drifted through a series of inconsistent performances that leave them hovering around the .500 mark during that stretch. For a team led by the brilliance of Nikola Jokic, that kind of statistical dip naturally raises eyebrows. Late-game performance has become the loudest warning sign. Championship teams tend to excel in clutch moments, when every possession carries the weight of the outcome. The playoffs are essentially one long sequence of clutch situations stretched across 48 intense minutes. Yet Denver's recent numbers in those scenarios have been surprisingly weak. Their offense has remained respectable in those final moments, but their defense has slipped dramatically, allowing opponents to score at an alarming rate when the pressure is highest. In a league where postseason success often comes down to a handful of critical possessions, that trend has become the foundation for growing skepticism. Then there is the strange case of Jokic himself. On the surface, his production still looks like something out of an MVP campaign. Night after night, he continues to pile up points, rebounds, and assists in a stat line that few players in basketball history have ever approached. Yet the deeper metrics reveal subtle changes. Turnovers have crept higher than usual. His shooting efficiency has dipped slightly. And the offensive machine that normally hums around him has occasionally stalled in awkward, disjointed sequences. For many observers, those details create the impression that something fundamental has shifted. But the reality unfolding inside Denver's system tells a different story. What appears to be a decline in performance is often the result of missing pieces rather than declining ability. Basketball, especially at the level the Nuggets operate, is not just about individual brilliance. It is about ecosystem, timing, and the delicate balance of roles that make every possession feel predictable to the players executing it. That ecosystem begins with a player whose value is often underestimated by those who only look at scoring totals. Aaron Gordon has quietly become one of the most essential connectors in Denver's system. When Gordon is on the floor with Jokic, the Nuggets transform into a completely different team. His presence unlocks angles and options that simplify the entire offense. The connection between the two players has evolved into one of the most effective partnerships in basketball, built on instinctive movement and a shared understanding of where each possession should end. Gordon's ability to operate as a cutter, finisher, and secondary playmaker creates an environment where Jokic can read defenses without hesitation. When defenders collapse toward the Serbian center, Gordon appears in the perfect spot to punish the mistake. Sometimes that means slipping behind the defense for an easy finish. Sometimes it means spacing the floor just enough to prevent defenders from collapsing completely. Over time, Gordon has even developed into a reliable perimeter shooter, forcing opponents to respect him in ways they once ignored. Defensively, his impact might be even more significant. Gordon gives the Nuggets the flexibility to guard multiple positions without sacrificing structure. Against bigger wings, he provides physical strength. Against quicker players, he offers mobility that keeps the defense connected. Remove him from the lineup, and suddenly the rotations become more complicated. The defensive assignments become less stable. The margin for error shrinks dramatically. Another absence has quietly contributed to Denver's recent struggles as well. Peyton Watson emerged earlier in the season as one of the team's most energetic defensive weapons. His ability to disrupt opposing scorers, chase shooters across the floor, and inject athleticism into the lineup gave the Nuggets a different dimension on that end of the court. Without him, Denver's defense has occasionally looked reactive instead of aggressive. When both Gordon and Watson return to full strength, the Nuggets regain the balance that once made them so difficult to solve. Suddenly the reads become easier for Jokic. The defensive assignments stabilize, and the team begins to resemble the well-organized system that overwhelmed opponents during their championship run. While those returning pieces will restore structure, the second major reason Denver still holds championship potential revolves around the evolution of their star guard, Jamal Murray. Over the course of this season, Murray has quietly elevated his game to a new level. His scoring efficiency has improved, his playmaking responsibilities have expanded, and most importantly, his confidence in late-game situations continues to grow. The chemistry between Murray and Jokic remains one of the most unstoppable combinations in modern basketball. Their two-man game operates with a simplicity that masks its devastating effectiveness. Jokic sets screens with perfect timing. Murray reads the defense and decides whether to pull up for a three-point shot, drive toward the mid-range area, or slip the ball back to his center rolling toward the paint. Every option creates a problem for defenders who must choose between protecting the rim or chasing shooters. When Murray enters one of his scoring rhythms, the entire equation changes. Few guards in the league possess his ability to catch fire in a matter of minutes. A series that appears balanced can suddenly tilt in Denver's favor after one explosive stretch, where Murray strings together multiple difficult shots. That capacity to swing games with scoring bursts has already defined several playoff moments in his career, and the signs this season suggest he is reaching another peak. But the final piece of Denver's championship puzzle lies deeper within the roster. One of the persistent weaknesses during previous seasons involved the minutes, when Jokic rested on the bench. Without their offensive anchor on the floor, the Nuggets often struggled to maintain momentum. Opponents would erase leads during those stretches, forcing Denver to rely heavily on their starters to regain control. This season, however, the bench rotation offers more solutions than it once did. The return of veterans like Bruce Brown brings versatility and experience to the second unit. Sharpshooters such as Tim Hardaway Jr. add scoring bursts that can stabilize offensive production when the starting lineup sits. Younger players like Christian Braun continue to develop into reliable contributors who can handle playoff pressure. Even the struggles of backup center Jonas Valanciunas highlight an important truth about this roster. Denver now has multiple lineup options capable of adjusting to different matchups. If a traditional center struggles against faster teams, the coaching staff can pivot towards smaller, more athletic lineups anchored by Gordon or Watson. That flexibility did not always exist in previous seasons. Taken together, those three factors reshape the conversation around Denver's recent slump. What appears to be a team losing momentum may actually be a contender navigating temporary injuries and lineup adjustments before the postseason begins. When Gordon returns, when Watson adds defensive energy, and when Murray continues playing at an elite level alongside Jokic, the Nuggets regain the identity that once made them nearly unstoppable. Championship seasons rarely follow a straight line. Even the most dominant teams experience stretches where the system falters and doubts grow louder. But the core elements that define the Nuggets remain intact. They still possess the most versatile center in basketball orchestrating their offense. They still have a guard capable of delivering unforgettable scoring explosions. And they still have a roster that, when healthy, fits together with the kind of chemistry that playoff basketball rewards. The real question is not whether Denver looks perfect in March. The question is whether anyone in the league can truly outplay them when the games slow down and every possession becomes a chess match. History suggests that when the Nuggets reach that environment, they become one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA. So as the postseason approaches, the doubts surrounding Denver may fade as quickly as they appeared. Injuries heal, rotations settle, and championship teams often reveal themselves at the exact moment the pressure becomes highest. If you enjoyed this deep breakdown of why the Denver Nuggets still have a legitimate path to another championship, let me know your thoughts. Do you believe Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray can lead Denver back to the top, or is another contender ready to take control of the league this season? Share your predictions in the comments, and if you want more documentary-style breakdowns of the biggest stories in basketball, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next analysis.